Hey, how are you guys today? I'm just doing one of my favorite pastimes, which is to look through a magazine. Now, you don't have to always just read books. There's lots of different things you can read. You can read comic books, you can read magazines, newspapers, all different ways you can get information. But for me, I always like to read a magazine, but I also like to always pick up a good book. Like the one we're reading, David Walliams' Ice Monster. Today, we are on chapters 69 and 70. Let's get started. Chapter 69, Some Kind of Machine. "We're coming too!" exclaimed Dottie, dragging Titch by the hand. "Do we have to? I'm freezing," he moaned. "Come on!" The lady dragged her beloved off the ship and onto the ice. "Wait there, please," Dottie called back to the Admiral. "We were going to go straight back to London," replied the Admiral sarcastically. "But now you ask, we'll wait." "Thank you kindly," said the lady. Wooly led the three friends across the ice. Soon they had lost sight of the Victory. "We'll have to try and remember which way we came," remarked Titch. "Yes, turn left at the mound of snow," replied Dottie unhelpfully. Underneath the ice there was a sound of something whirring. Roar. It stopped Wooly in her tracks. "Ooh!" she cried softly, clearly spooked. "What's that?" said Elsie. "What's what?" asked Dottie. "That sound," replied the girl. She put her ear down to the ice. "Maybe it's a killer whale," suggested Titch. Wooly shook her head. "No," replied the girl. "This is some kind of machine." All four stood still and silent. Suddenly, there was a deafening sound of something grinding through the ice. Drrrr. Ahead of them, a metal nose burst out. Smash! "Hoo!" screamed Wooly. "What's that?" gasped Elsie. "It's one of them submarines," replied Titch. "What's it doing here?" asked Elsie. "And who's going to sweep up all the ice?" remarked Dottie. The underwater craft forced its way up to the surface and bobbed on the sea for a moment. "Shall we make a run for it?" suggested Elsie. "No, let's stand our ground," replied Titch. "My hero," said Dottie. A hatch opened, and on top of the submarine and a pith helmet emerged, followed by a gnarled face, which seemed to have been burned in an explosion. Well, fancy meeting you here," snarled the lady. It was Lady Buckshot. She was chomping on a cigar and wielding a shotgun. "Whoo!" replied Wooly. "Yes, how peculiar," replied Dottie. Maybe we should have a run for it," said Titch. "Thought you could kill me off, did you?" called out the big game hunter as she stepped down from her submarine onto the ice. "Thought your little stunt with Tower Bridge was clever, did you?" Mused Dottie. "Probably not saying the right thing here, but yes, I did, actually." "Silence! You asked a question. It was a rhetorical question." "What's that?" "You don't know what a rhetorical question is?" "No." "Silence! That was a rhetorical question." "We're going round in circles now." "Right, I'll shoot you first." Elsie stepped in front of Dottie. "Never," said the girl. Titch stepped in front of Elsie. "Never," he said. Then Wooly swept them both aside with her trunk. "Woo!" she hooted at the hunter. "I'll just stay here at the back if that's all right with everyone," announced Dottie. "Oh, for goodness sake," thundered Buckshot, spitting out her cigar and pointing her shotgun at each of them in turn. "I will kill you all." Chapter 70. Behind you. Buckshot cocked her shotgun. Click. "Don't you fools see how good all of your heads will look on my wall?" she called out. "I'd rather like my head attached to my body," Elsie called back. "And so does Wooly." "Woo!" The mammoth nodded in agreement. "Wooly?" mocked Buckshot. "The monster has a name." "She's not a monster, she's a man-myth," said Dottie. "A what?" asked Buckshot. "A man-myth. Are you deaf? It'll take too long to explain, said Elsie. Fine. I don't have any time anyway. Prepare to die. Titch put his hand up in the air. Oh, excuse me, lady. What now? There's a polar bear behind you, he lied. No, there isn't, said Dotty. Shut up, he hissed. Yes, there is, Elsie continued the lie. A really big one. I'm not falling for that old chestnut, thundered Buckshot. Ooh, hooted Wooly, pointing with her trunk to the spot where the imaginary bear might be. Oh, I get it, said Dotty. There's a really big brown bear. White bear, hissed Titch. White bear behind you. It would look great on your wall, added Elsie. Behind her, she could sense the mammoth was straining. What are you doing, Wooly? Whispered Elsie. The mammoth had shut her eyes tight in concentration. Finally, it came. A bottom burp. Grrr! A bottom burp that sounded exactly like the growl of a bear. The noise made Buckshot turn round and look. It gave the gang of four just enough time to rush at her. Titch rugby tackled her, and she fell to the ice. Thump! Ugh! Dotty sat on her, so she was trapped. Get off me, you peasant! Next, Elsie snatched the shotgun from her and threw it as far away as she could, so it landed in deep snow. Give me that back! Last, Wooly lolloped forward with her trunk and grabbed the lady by her ankle. What are you doing, you beast? Guessing what was to come, Elsie helped Dotty off of Buckshot. Then Wooly dangled her would-be killer in the air. Help! She cried. Not on you, Nelly, said Dotty. The mammoth lifted the hunter high in the air and began swinging her in circles. Ah! Yelled Buckshot. The circles became faster and faster. Whirr! Soon Buckshot became nothing more than a blur. Ugh! Now let go, said Elsie. The mammoth did what she was told. No! Cried Buckshot as she spun through the air like a boomerang. Whoosh! Unlike a boomerang, she didn't come back. Buckshot flew across the Arctic before landing far out of sight with a thud. Thank you, Mammoth, said Dotty. That woman was beginning to get on my nerves. All right, that does it for chapters 69 and 70 of David Walliams' Ice Monster. And now, are you ready? Come on, I said. Are you ready? All right, so you will be answering questions by restating the question like we do in front of the class. So you basically have to just copy what we did and then put your answer in. So you're going to be restating the question using complete sentences and make sure you click submit. Easy as pie. All right, everybody, have a great rest of your day. Now, if you can't find a book you'd like, maybe see if you can find a magazine, a newspaper, a comic book. You know I like those. And have a great rest of your day.